Hello, everyone, and welcome to English Pod. My name is Marco.
My name is Catherine, and today we're talking about a dream home. So building the home of your dreams.
That's right, and this lesson today is advanced, so it might be a little bit hard. And we're going to be taking a look at not only some vocabulary related to your home or decorations and stuff, but also how to treat your loved one in a nice way, or little, what do you call them, nicknames.
Cute names, pet names.
Pet names.
That's right.
Okay.
So stay tuned. We'll be talking about very specific things having to do with building a home and home remodeling. And so we'll hear this dialogue one time, but when we're back in just a minute here, we'll be talking about what those things mean.
Mr. and Mrs. Robinson, let's get straight to it. You have saved up your money for years and are now ready to build your dream home. What did you have in mind?
A suburban bungalow straight out of the 60s. A perfect lawn with minimal landscaping, a brick patio in the backyard with an old-fashioned grill, quaint lawn furniture, and a swimming pool. A 2-car carport, pastel siding, and a gable roof, completed with white shutters and a white picket fence.
Honey?
In the living room, we would have moss green rugs and a fireplace with a stone mantel and wood paneling on the walls. In the kitchen, the cupboards would be a pale yellow, and we would have a turquoise metal oven and vinyl flooring.
Sweetie, but I was thinking of more a modern style house, an open concept house, all glass, wood, metal, and concrete.
But sweetums, there's always a lot of wasted space in those kinds of homes. Besides, it's just a fad. It doesn't have the homey feeling the old homes do.
Sweetie Pie, it's not a lot of wasted space. It is relaxing, and the house would be eco-friendly with an in-floor heating system and designed to retain the heat of the sun in the winter and keep the house cool in the summer. We would have solar panels on the roof.
Do you know how much those things cost?
What about your vintage furniture, dearest? And instead of a lawn, which is also a lot of wasted space and would require environmentally harmful pesticides, we would have a fish pond in the backyard and a garden that would cover the whole yard so we could grow our own food.
But Buttercup, I thought you always said that you loved visiting your grandmother's house.
And I thought you, Mr. Scientist, were all up on saving the planet with your technological advancements.
Well, I am just going to get some coffee while you two keep discussing. All right, we're back. So apparently the couple can't seem to agree. He wants something different than what she does, and in the end, I think they were a little bit irritated with each other.
Doesn't this always happen, though? I mean, my dream home is probably not your dream home.
I don't know. It's weird. But, I mean, you would probably have to, I don't know, compensate somehow or
well, that's the beauty of compromise. I think you can go back and forth, but with your loved one or your spouse, you have to make some decisions about what you want and what they want.
All you need to do is give a guy his own room in which he can decorate and do whatever he wants with it. That's all you need. No, not me, just any guy. Just, you want to decorate the house in any way you want, fine, but just give us one room, like 5 meters by 5 meters, where we can put anything we want.
A beer cooler, a TV, a PS3, a sound system, and a couple guitars.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. That's no. You described it.
I've been to your house. I know. Anyway, we've got a lot of great words here in language takeaways, so let's take a peek at some of those.
Language takeaway.
All right, so the first word that we have, or it's actually a concept, minimal landscaping.
Okay, so minimal is a style, minimalist actually, and minimal landscaping is this kind of style of, well, designing your lawn or your garden.
Okay.
So minimal means not having adornments or decorations.
Okay, so it's kind of like the less is more type thing.
Exactly. So minimal architecture could be very simple, lots of clean lines, not much decoration. It's the opposite of something that's baroque and highly ornamented.
Yeah, no, I don't like that. I'm into minimal. All right, minimalist. Anyways, we have minimal landscaping. And well, he's talking about his patio, an old-fashioned grill, and he said quaint lawn furniture.
quaint is sometimes, well, it's usually kind of a bad thing. We say something is quaint in the way of saying that it's cute, but we don't really like it because it's maybe old-fashioned or, kind of old style. Mm-hmm. So, isn't that quaint? It's something that people from the city often say about people in the country, at least in America. So, because, I went to school on the East Coast and I'm from the Midwest. So people on the East Coast would say, oh, your house is so quaint. It's, small and cute and old fashioned.
Right.
Because they live in a big, fancy New York apartment or whatever. So quaint is usually something that's not the nicest. But
so he's looking for some lawn furniture that's not like plastic or new. It's more like old fashioned, maybe wood, right?
Right, and kind of traditional and not fancy.
Okay.
It's kind of simple. Mm-hmm.
Now he's also talking about the house, and he wants a 2-car carport, pastel siding, and a gable roof. So now we know what a roof is, but what is a gable roof?
A gable is a thing, right? And it's almost like an extension of the roof in certain parts. For example, on a traditional Cape Cod style house, you have windows in the front that they're not a part of the roof. They're an extension.
They're kind of like
come out.
popping out like eyes.
Exactly. They're coming out like eyes. And so the roof, obviously you need a roof on top of those windows. So that kind of roof, that little extension, that's called a gable.
Okay.
And so there's a wonderful book that's famous in American history called The House of Seven Gables. That means that on this roof of the house, there are 7 different parts that come out. 7 gables. It's very unique.
Those houses usually look a little bit scary.
They do. Victorian and imposing.
All right. So you have a gable roof. Now you have shutters and a white picket fence. This is typical. Everyone talks about a white picket fence around their house.
That's right. There was even a TV show in America years ago called Picket Fences.
Really?
And I think a picket fence is kind of this ideal in American culture about having your own home in the suburbs and having your own space. And so around your yard, around your garden, you have this white picket fence. And so a picket is I think the pointed part. So a picket fence is thin pieces of wood that stand in the ground and are connected to protect your property from other people coming inside.
Okay. So that's a white picket fence. You'll hear it all the time. Usually in movies or in TV shows, they talk about having their own little house with their dog and a white picket fence.
Exactly. 2 kids, 2 cars.
And a white picket fence. All right. So now the woman argued that she wanted something a little bit more modern. And, the guy said, you know what, that's, it's just wasted space. And those types of homes are just a fad.
A fad. So a fad is something that is passing. It's something that's popular for a short time, but then it goes away. It's not popular anymore.
Right.
So,
for example, I think for a while, remember those shoes? They used to have little red lights in the back in the heel.
oh yeah, LA Lights.
LA Lights.
That's right.
Those were a fad. It
Absolutely.
was really popular for like a year. Everyone had them. Everyone wore them, and then they just went away.
One of my favorite fads of the 1980s were those shirts that would change color if the room temperature changed color. So if you go outside and it's hot, they would become bright pink. But if you're in a cold room, they would go blue and green. It was really fun, but they're definitely out of fashion these days.
I don't think they wear them anymore. So that's a fad. That's something that's temporary. It's popular for a while. So he called her house a fad, and she says, well, what about your house? All this vintage furniture. What's vintage?
Vintage, well, some people think that vintage is a fad. A lot of people really enjoy buying vintage furniture or vintage clothing. Vintage means old.
Old.
So
it's a nice way of saying old, or like a nice or cool way of saying old.
Yeah, so it's almost like, for example, right now, 1940s and 50s clothes are very popular. A lot of girls are into this kind of style, so it's called, vintage clothing because it's not from today's styles. It's an old style. Or you could even call, those big flowing dresses from the 1970s vintage clothing. So vintage furniture would be furniture that comes from a different time, a different era, and
But
that
they're
it's popular now.
Right, they're popular now. Or people like to buy them now.
That's right. So they're special because they come from a different time.
Okay. So those are the words that we have for today on Language Takeaway. Why don't we move on now to some pet names or some sweet ways that you can call your loved ones on Fluency Builder.
Fluency Builder.
So the reason this dialogue is very funny is because we have these two people who are clearly in disagreement about the kinds of furniture and house they want, but they're being so nice to each other. They have these cute names for each other. So it's really, I don't know, it's really funny.
It almost seems like they're newlyweds, but apparently they've been saving up their entire life. So maybe they're just one of those really loving couples.
Oh, sweetums, cutie pie, cutie.
All right, so that's the
Babe.
first one. Sweetums.
Sweetums. So obviously the main part of this word is sweet. Sweetums. This is a way to say, hey, sweetie.
Okay.
Sweetums.
Sweetums. So you can say sweetie or sweetums.
Exactly.
And that's a nice way of saying to somebody. Or you can go sweetie pie.
Sweetie pie. So pie is a food, it's like
pie is
a
sweet.
dessert. It's the sweet. So sweetie pie, or you could say honey pie.
Honey pie, sweetie pie.
So these are all cute. And the nice thing about these kind of pet names, these cute names, is you can change them if you want. And they're yours. So you could say, honey pie, sugar bun. They're silly, but there's no real rule. But these are the most common. So
Right.
sweetums and sweetie pie.
Okay. Now, moving on to something a little bit maybe more formal. Dearest.
Dearest. This makes me think of my grandparents.
Oh, really?
Dearest. So dearest comes from dear. Dearest is the most dear. So someone who's the most important to you.
Okay.
And so you could say mummy dearest, mother dearest.
Oh, really? You heard that somewhere?
Oh, yeah.
Do people call that their mothers like mother dearest?
Mother dearest. No, it's very 1930s.
I'm so arrogant.
It is. Well, it's an old time thing. It's not. We do not say this anymore. But
Yeah.
you can say, dearest, would you mind moving the car, please?
I like the accent you put, kind of like English. All right. And the last one, buttercup. This is really popular.
This is really popular, and you've heard this in a song before. You want to sing the song? Do you want me to sing the
No,
song?
you sing the song. Why do you build
Why do you build me up? Buttercup, baby.
yeah.
Okay, so that was in a lot of movies. The word is buttercup.
Buttercup.
Also in the movie The Princess Bride was the character Princess Buttercup. And so this is a sweet, obviously a sweet thing. I think a buttercup is a flower.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and so these are all words you can use, names you could use with men and women, but buttercup is mostly women. I think the other ones are more general.
But do you think, do guys say to their loved ones, like, sweetum, sweetie pie?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
All right, so I guess, guys, if you want to be really sweet and you want to win over the hearts of the ladies, you can use these words as well. These
Another
pet names.
popular one is babe,
Babe.
which is more of a young person thing to say.
Yeah, I think this is more modern as well. Babe.
Honey or babe,
Baby.
baby. You're verging on not so sweet.
No, but like, hey, baby, how are you? It's like,
Yeah,
nice. But like, not like, hey, baby.
All right. Well, we're gonna leave you with that thought and go listen to this dialogue one more time. But we'll be back in a moment.
Mr. and Mrs. Robinson, let's get straight to it. You have saved up your money for years and are now ready to build your dream home. What did you have in mind?
A suburban bungalow straight out of the 60s. A perfect lawn with minimal landscaping, a brick patio in the backyard with an old-fashioned grill, quaint lawn furniture, and a swimming pool. A 2-car carport, pastel siding, and a gable roof, completed with white shutters and a white picket fence.
Honey?
In the living room, we would have moss green rugs and a fireplace with a stone mantel and wood paneling on the walls. In the kitchen, the cupboards would be a pale yellow, and we would have a turquoise metal oven and vinyl flooring.
Sweetie, but I was thinking of more a modern style house, an open concept house, all glass, wood, metal, and concrete.
But sweetums, there's always a lot of wasted space in those kinds of homes. Besides, it's just a fad. It doesn't have the homey feeling the old homes do.
Sweetie Pie, it's not a lot of wasted space. It is relaxing, and the house would be eco-friendly with an in-floor heating system and designed to retain the heat of the sun in the winter and keep the house cool in the summer. We would have solar panels on the roof.
Do you know how much those things cost?
What about your vintage furniture, dearest? And instead of a lawn, which is also a lot of wasted space and would require environmentally harmful pesticides, we would have a fish pond in the backyard and a garden that would cover the whole yard so we could grow our own food.
But Buttercup, I thought you always said that you love visiting your grandmother's house.
And I thought you, Mr. Scientist, were all up on saving the planet with your technological advancements.
Well, I am just going to get some coffee while you two keep discussing. All right, we're back. So, apart from this, decorations and stuff, do you agree with the vintage home, the more like minimalist thing, or do you like the open concept one, the bigger one?
I love the look of minimalism, but as a place to live, it's not comfortable, right? And so when I think of an aesthetic that I like, a look that I like, I really like kind of dark wood, velvety, 19th century kind of.
Wow.
Yeah. Like I think of old Vienna.
You like Castle Dracula?
No, not dark. I like things to be open. And I like a lot of natural light, but I also like oversized kind of heavy furniture and really luscious fabrics and things like that. So that's
I'm actually completely different because I do like this open concept. I like those houses that I like the way they look inside as well as outside when they're kind of squared, big windows, clean lines. Inside is like, for example, in the kitchen, you have polished aluminum or polished steel furniture in the kitchen, as well as a lot of white and red or black, especially. I kind of like that kind of open spaces.
Primary colors.
Yeah. Flat screen TVs on the wall and stuff like that. Like
remote controls.
IKEA lamps. Yeah, like those remote controls where you can open your curtains, your TV, and the lights all at the same time. I kind of like that stuff.
Cool. Well, let us know what you guys like because everyone has their own opinion on what a beautiful house is. And if you have any pictures, feel free to share them with us on our website, EnglishPod.com.
All right. We'll see you guys there.
Bye.
Bye. The English Pod Audio Review. Listen to the meaning, then say the vocabulary word.
Something you really want to do. Dream. Place where a person lives. Home. Located or residing in a suburb. Suburban. A house which is built on one level. Bungalow. The years from 1960 to 1969. The 60s. The smallest possible amount or size. Minimal. A view across an area of land. Landscaping. An area of the garden with a hard surface. Patio. Unusual or old-fashioned. Quaint. A place where you park your car. Carport. A kind of dry colour in sticks. Pastel. Material attached to the outside of a building. Siding. The triangular upper part of a wall. Gable. The top of a building. Roof. Covers unfold in front of a window. Shutter. The shelf above a fireplace. Mantel. Sheets of wood fit into a frame to form a wall. Panelling. A bluish-green precious stone. Turquoise. Firm plastic which can be bent. Vinyl. Used as a term of endearment. Sweetums. Fashion. Fad. Having a feeling of home, comfortable. Homey. Used as a term of endearment. Sweetie pie. Not harmful to the environment. Eco-friendly. Installed in the floor. In floor. A system for keeping rooms warm. Heating. To keep or keep possession. Retain. Relating to the sun, using its light. Solar. A flat section of a wall, door. Panel. Representative of the best and most typical. Vintage. Used as terms of endearment. Dearest. A chemical substance used to kill insects. Pesticide. A creature living in water. Fish. A small body of water. Pond. A plant with small yellow flowers. Buttercup. Based on scientific and industrial progress. Technological. Improvement or development. Advancements. A fence consisting of pickets. Picket fence. A form or style of room. Open concept. Have all knowledge or information of something. All up on.
Let's try that faster.
A bluish-green precious stone. Turquoise. Unusual or old-fashioned. Quaint. Place where a person lives. Home. The triangular upper part of a wall. Gable. An area of the garden with a hard surface. Patio. Based on scientific and industrial progress. Technological. The top of a building. Roof. Material attached to the outside of a building. Siding. Used as a term of endearment. Sweetums. Used as terms of endearment. Dearest. Firm plastic which can be bent. Vinyl. Something you really want to do. Dream. The years from 1960 to 1969. The 60s. Representative of the best and most typical. Vintage. Improvement or development. Advancements. A system for keeping rooms warm. Heating. A chemical substance used to kill insects. Pesticide. A view across an area of land. Landscaping. A house which is built on one level. Bungalow. Installed in the floor. In floor. Having a feeling of home, comfortable. Homey. Located or residing in a suburb. Suburban. To keep or keep possession. Retain. Fashion. Fad. A place where you park your car. Carport. A fence consisting of pickets. Picket fence. A form or style of room. Open concept. A small body of water. Pond. Relating to the sun, using its light. Solar. A creature living in water. Fish. Covers unfold in front of a window. Shutter. Not harmful to the environment. Eco-friendly. The shelf above a fireplace. Mantle. A plant with small yellow flowers. Buttercup. Sheets of wood fit into a frame to form a wall. Panelling. The smallest possible amount or size. Minimal. Used as a term of endearment. Sweetie pie. Have all knowledge or information of something. All up on. A flat section of a wall, door. Panel. A kind of dry colour in sticks. Pastel.
Now say the word and hear it in a sentence.
Picket fence. The only thing holding in the cattle is the old wooden picket fence, so it's no wonder that the bull so easily charged through it and escaped. Picket fence. In her daydreams, she always imagined herself newly married and living in a house with a white picket fence in a picturesque countryside. Picket fence. My mother grew up in a neighbourhood where everyone's yard was enclosed by a picket fence. Nowadays, some of those fences are still standing, but most of them have been replaced by chain-link fences. Vinyl. When my family renovated our kitchen, we took up the old vinyl flooring and put down a hardwood floor. Vinyl. I love the vinyl floor in the bathroom because though it is made to look like tile, it is warmer and softer on bare feet. Vinyl. My friend is a vinyl fanatic. He has vinyl records, vinyl floors, vinyl clothing, a vinyl couch, and even the siding on his house is vinyl. Open concept. A popular trend in architecture right now is designing open concept buildings. Open concept. Open concept homes are spacious and bright, but the effect is only truly achieved when the decor is consistent between the adjoining rooms. Open concept. The open concept and soothing colours of the hotel lobby took my breath away as I walked through the revolving door. Eco-friendly. Carrying your groceries in a reusable cloth bag is more eco-friendly than using a new plastic one. Eco-friendly. My neighbours told me that they spray their lawn with an eco-friendly fertilizer. Eco-friendly. It seems that more and more businesses are becoming concerned about protecting the environment and are using their eco-friendly practices and values as a key point in their advertisements. All up on. A friend of mine is all up on the latest trends in fashion. All up on. When I was in high school, I was all up on finding a cure for cancer, but then I went to university and discovered that my real passion was composing music. All up on. My brother is an advocate for environmental awareness, so he's all up on crazy facts like how long it takes for a piece of plastic to disintegrate and how many fish die per year from ingesting garbage floating around in the ocean.
Hello, English learners. Welcome back to English Pod. My name is Marco.
And I'm Erica.
And today we are going to be talking about the weather.
That's right. And you know, Marco, this is a really, really useful and important topic in English, isn't it?
Exactly, because if you ever travel abroad, you always want to know about the weather, right?
That's right. And English people, all they ever do is talk about the weather.
Well, it's an important topic. You want to know what clothes to wear or if you should take an umbrella.
Or even when you're making small talk with people.
Exactly. So we are going to be taking a look at the weather in the United States. But before we get started with the dialogue, let's take a look at vocabulary preview.
Vocabulary preview.
Okay, so we have two words we're going to hear in the dialogue. Now, the first one is forecast.
Forecast.
Weather forecast.
So this is what we listen to or what we see on the television, the weather forecast.
Right, it's like the prediction of the weather.
Okay, so forecast, can I only use it in the weather?
No, of course you can use it in many other different situations, like in business, for example, forecast sales.
Okay, so the prediction of sales. Very good. And we have one more word on vocabulary preview, a shower.
A shower.
Shower.
Shower. So when it rains for a short time and it's not too heavy, that's a shower.
Okay, very good. So it's very similar to a shower at home.
Right.
It's like a little bit of water.
And it doesn't last too long.
Okay,
Yep.
Very good. So why don't we listen to our dialogue now? We are going to be listening to the weatherman as he describes the weather in Utah.
And now, let's go to Kenny Williams for today's weather forecast.
Thank you, Bill, and good morning, Salt Lake City.
What's the weather looking like today, Kenny?
Well, it's a bit of a mixed bag in Utah today. We've got heavy cloud cover here in northern Utah, and we're calling for scattered showers throughout the day, with a daytime high of 45 degrees. Now, if we move down to the south of the state, we can see that a cold front is moving in. We can expect clear skies, but it will be quite cold, with temperatures hovering around the 30-degree mark.
It's a chilly day, folks, so don't forget your coats. What about tomorrow, Kenny? Do you have good news for us?
Well, it'll be a rainy day for northern Utah. We can expect some isolated downpours in the morning. Winds will be coming in from the northeast, with gusts reaching 23 miles per hour. Salt Lake City can expect the rain to turn to sleet in the evening. Things are looking a bit better for the south. We'll see cloudy skies with a chance of showers. Later in the day, we can expect partly cloudy skies with a forecast high of 38 degrees.
You heard it, folks. It's going to be a cold one.
That's right, Bill. We'll have more later on today on the 6 o'clock news. That's the weather forecast for this morning.
All right, so we listened to the weather forecast, and it doesn't seem like nice weather in Utah, huh?
No, it certainly doesn't. I don't think that I would really like to live there.
Well, maybe it's winter or something like that.
Well, I guess, yeah, maybe it's good for skiing.
Okay, so now I think it's time for us to take a look at some of those maybe difficult words that we may have listened to in this dialogue in Language Takeaway.
Language takeaway.
All right, here we're going to look at some words and phrases that you can use to describe the weather. Now, the first one, we heard in the weather forecast that they were calling for scattered showers.
Scattered showers.
Scatter.
Scattered. If something is scattered.
It's sort of like it's a little bit of that thing everywhere.
Okay. So, and we already talked about what showers were.
Right. So showers, a small amount of rain.
Okay, very good. To better understand when something is scattered, imagine that we are in a playground and the children are playing in the playground.
Okay.
So the children are scattered everywhere. Some of them are playing on the swing, some of them are playing on the grass or in the sandbox. So children, a little bit of children in every different spot.
So if we think that the city is a playground, maybe in one part of the city there's a little bit of rain, but not in the other part.
Exactly.
That's a scattered shower.
Very good. Moving on to our second word, we have hovering.
Hovering.
Temperatures hovering around the 30-degree mark.
The temperature is hovering around.
Okay, so when I say the temperatures are hovering...
You mean it's approximately.
Okay, so they can move up and down. So maybe it'll be a little bit warmer than 30 degrees or a little bit colder.
Yes. So if you think of hovering as floating.
Okay, very good. So why don't we listen to some more examples of how we could use hovering in different situations?
Example 1.
Unemployment rates are hovering around the 10% mark despite the government's attempts to stimulate the economy.
Example 2. The waiters kept hovering around us all night. It was really annoying. Example 3.
The company's margin this year is hovering around the 40% mark.
Okay, so pretty clear. Hovering is sort of floating around one area.
Very good. Now let's move on to the next part. We saw that we're going to have isolated downpours.
Isolated downpours.
Isolated downpours.
Okay, let's break this one down. Let's start with downpour.
A downpour is when you have a lot of rain, very strong rain.
That's right. For maybe a short amount of time, it's really raining heavily.
Right. So that's what a downpour is. And if we take a look at the first word, isolated.
So in one small area.
Okay, confined it to a specific area.
That's right.
Okay, so we have an isolated downpour. It'll be raining in one specific area.
And you hear this a lot with weather language. You hear isolated showers, isolated snowstorms.
Exactly, so it'll be in a specific area only.
All right, so along with these showers and rain, we also talked about wind, and we heard that we will have gusts reaching 23 miles per hour.
So we're going to have gusts reaching 23 miles per hour.
Gusts of wind.
Okay, so can you explain to our listeners what gusts are?
Okay, so a gust is a sudden increase in the amount of wind.
Okay, so maybe we'll have normal wind and all of a sudden it will get really windy.
That's right, for a short amount of time.
Okay, that's a gust.
G-U-S-T, gust.
Gust of wind. And for our final word on language takeaway today, we're going to have sleet.
Sleet?
Sleet.
All right, sleet is a terrible kind of weather. It's sort of a mixture between snow and rain.
So sleet is kind of this strange mix between ice and rain and snow. So just imagine, it's not completely ice, so it's not solid, but it's not water, right? It's not rain.
It's not snow either.
No, it's in the middle.
Okay.
All right, so sleet.
But what you really need to know is that it's terrible.
All right, so that's all the words we have today for language takeaway. Let's move on now to Fluency Builder.
Fluency Builder.
All right, in Fluency Builder today, we're going to look at 3 phrases that are really common when you're talking about the weather. Now, we heard in the dialogue that there was a cold front moving in.
A cold front moving in.
A cold front is moving in.
Okay, so a cold front.
Imagine a wall of cold air. And it comes towards a place, and then it changes the pressure in the atmosphere.
Okay, so a very sudden amount of cold air that comes into a place.
Right.
So we say a cold front is moving in.
So we always think of these cold fronts or warm fronts as moving. So you can either say they're moving in, or you can say a cold front is coming in.
Okay, very good. And okay, we have a cold front that's moving in, and we're going to have winds that will be coming in from the northeast.
Okay, winds coming in from.
Okay, winds coming in from. So when I say it's coming in from,
you're talking about its origin, where it starts.
Okay, so if I change the noun and I don't say winds anymore, but maybe I'll say my friends. My friends are coming in from
Chicago.
So they are arriving from Chicago.
Exactly.
What else can I say?
Or you can also say the kids are coming in from outside.
Okay, so where they were before. Very good. So coming in from, you can change the noun a little bit and you can form these new sentences.
Great. Now our final phrase, we heard the announcer say, it's gonna be a cold one.
It's gonna be a cold one.
It's gonna be a cold one.
So I have this phrase, it's gonna be a cold one. What do I mean by a cold one?
Okay, so the one represents the event, so the day.
Okay,
right?
So it's going to be a cold day.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, we can obviously change the adjective, right? So it's going to be a hot one, it's going to be a long one, it's going to be a long day.
All right.
But the one can mean anything.
Okay, so it can be a day, it can be an event.
A meeting.
Okay.
A project. So, for example, if we're going to a meeting, I might say, hey, Marco, this is going to be a hard one.
Okay, so the one represents the meeting.
That's right.
This is going to be a hard meeting. All right, I think this is a very good phrase and it's very commonly used. So why don't we listen to some more examples of how we can use it's going to be a something 1.
Example 1. Temperatures are forecasted to hit 37 degrees today. It's going to be a hot one, folks. Example 2.
It's only 8 a.m. and I've got 100 emails already. It's going to be a long one today.
Example 3. I haven't studied at all for the exam. It's going to be a tough one.
Okay, so some great examples, and I think it's time for us to listen to this dialogue again. And now we can understand all these words and phrases that we've just talked about.
And now, let's go to Kenny Williams for today's weather forecast.
Thank you, Bill, and good morning, Salt Lake City.
What's the weather looking like today, Kenny?
Well, it's a bit of a mixed bag in Utah today. We've got heavy cloud cover here in northern Utah, and we're calling for scattered showers throughout the day, with a daytime high of 45 degrees. Now, if we move down to the south of the state, we can see that a cold front is moving in. We can expect clear skies, but it will be quite cold, with temperatures hovering around the 30-degree mark.
It's a chilly day, folks, so don't forget your coats. What about tomorrow, Kenny? Do you have good news for us?
Well, it'll be a rainy day for northern Utah. We can expect some isolated downpours in the morning. Winds will be coming in from the northeast, with gusts reaching 23 miles per hour. Salt Lake City can expect the rain to turn to sleet in the evening. Things are looking a bit better for the south. We'll see cloudy skies with a chance of showers. Later in the day, we can expect partly cloudy skies with a forecast high of 38 degrees.
You heard it, folks. It's going to be a cold one.
That's right, Bill. We'll have more later on today on the 6 o'clock news. That's the weather forecast for this morning.
Okay, so we know that in English-speaking countries, the weather is always a great subject of conversation for small talk, right?
Exactly. If you ever want to talk to somebody or start a conversation, the weather is always the number one topic.
Yep. And we actually have a phrase in this dialogue that'd be great for starting a conversation. Like, for example, imagine if you lived here in Utah and you were, wanting to start a conversation with someone, you could say, "It sure is a cold one today, isn't it?"
Exactly. That's a great way of starting a conversation, and English-speaking people love to talk about the weather, as you say.
Weather, understanding the world around us. Weather is an important part of our daily lives. It affects what we wear, where we go, and even how we feel. Weather refers to the conditions of the atmosphere at a specific time and place. It includes things like temperature, wind, humidity, and precipitation. The weather can change from day to day, and sometimes even from hour to hour. Some days are sunny and warm, while others are cold and rainy. Understanding the weather helps us prepare for our daily activities and stay safe. One of the most important parts of weather is temperature. Temperature tells us how hot or cold the air is. It is measured in degrees, either in Celsius or Fahrenheit. When the temperature is high, we experience hot weather, and when it is low, the weather is cold. In summer, temperatures can rise very high, making people feel warm and sometimes uncomfortable. In winter, temperatures drop and it can become very cold. In some places, winter temperatures go below freezing, causing snow and ice to form. Wind is another important part of the weather. Wind is the movement of air from one place to another. It can be gentle, like a light breeze, or strong, like a powerful storm. Wind helps to cool us down on hot days, but it can also cause damage during storms. The speed and direction of the wind are important in predicting the weather. Strong winds can bring changes in temperature and even cause storms. In some parts of the world, people experience hurricanes and tornadoes, which are very strong windstorms that can destroy homes and trees. Humidity is also a key part of the weather. Humidity is the amount of moisture, or water vapor, in the air. When humidity is high, the air feels heavy and sticky. This is common in tropical areas, where the air holds a lot of moisture. High humidity can make hot days feel even hotter, making people sweat more. On the other hand, when humidity is low, the air feels dry. This often happens in deserts, where there is very little moisture in the air. Dry air can make our skin feel rough and cause breathing problems for some people. Precipitation is any form of water that falls from the sky. It includes rain, snow, sleet, and hail. Rain is the most common type of precipitation. It helps plants grow and fills rivers and lakes with water. Light rain can be refreshing, but heavy rain can cause floods, making it dangerous for people and animals. Snow falls when the air is very cold. It covers the ground in a white blanket and is fun for winter activities like skiing and building snowmen. Sleet and hail are other types of precipitation. Sleet is a mix of rain and snow, while hail is made of small balls of ice that can fall during strong storms. Weather is always changing because of the way air moves around the earth. The sun plays a big role in weather patterns. It heats the Earth's surface, causing warm air to rise and cooler air to move in. This movement of air creates different weather conditions in different parts of the world. For example, places near the equator, where the sun is strongest, are usually hot all year round. In contrast, places near the North and South poles are cold because they receive less direct sunlight. Different seasons bring different types of weather. In many parts of the world, there are 4 seasons: spring, summer, autumn, fall, and winter. Each season has its own weather patterns. Spring is often mild, with flowers blooming and trees growing new leaves. Summer is the hottest season, with long, sunny days. Autumn is cooler, and the leaves on trees change color and fall to the ground. Winter is the coldest season, with snow and ice in many places. However, not all places have 4 seasons. Some countries, especially near the equator, have only 2 seasons: a wet season and a dry season. Understanding the weather helps people make better decisions. Farmers need to know about the weather to plant and harvest their crops at the right time. Travelers check the weather before planning trips to avoid bad conditions. People who work outside, like construction workers and fishermen, need to know if it will be too hot, too cold, or rainy. Even simple things like choosing what clothes to wear each day depend on the weather. Weather is a fascinating subject because it affects every part of our lives. It can be beautiful, like a clear blue sky or a peaceful snowfall. But it can also be dangerous, like a powerful storm or a heat wave. Scientists study the weather to help us understand it better and to predict what will happen next. In the next part, we will explore how scientists study the weather and the tools they use to make forecasts. Weather is not only something we experience every day, but it is also something scientists study carefully. Weather changes all the time, and scientists try to predict what will happen next. This helps people prepare for different weather conditions and stay safe. The study of weather is called meteorology, and the scientists who study it are called meteorologists. Meteorologists use many tools to measure and predict the weather. One important tool is the thermometer, which measures temperature. It tells us how hot or cold the air is. Another tool is the barometer, which measures air pressure. Changes in air pressure help scientists predict if the weather will be sunny, rainy, or stormy. A high air pressure usually means good weather, while a low air pressure can mean rain or storms are coming. Anemometers are tools that measure wind speed, and wind vanes show the direction the wind is blowing. These tools help scientists understand how the wind moves and how it affects the weather. Rain gauges measure how much rain has fallen, and hygrometers measure humidity, or the amount of moisture in the air. All of these tools help meteorologists collect information to make weather forecasts. One of the most important tools in modern weather forecasting is the satellite. Satellites orbit the Earth and take pictures of clouds, storms, and other weather patterns. These images help scientists track hurricanes, typhoons, and other major weather events. Satellites also help predict changes in climate over long periods. Weather forecasting is not always perfect because the atmosphere is very complex. However, with modern technology, meteorologists can make very good predictions. People rely on weather forecasts to plan their daily activities. Farmers need to know if it will rain or if there will be a drought. Airplane pilots check the weather to avoid storms. People listen to weather reports to decide if they should carry an umbrella, wear warm clothes, or prepare for a hurricane. Severe weather can be dangerous, and it is important to be prepared. Thunderstorms bring heavy rain, lightning, and strong winds. Lightning can strike trees, houses, and even people. So it is important to stay indoors during a thunderstorm. Tornadoes are very strong winds that form a spinning column of air. They can destroy buildings and cars in just a few minutes. People who live in areas where tornadoes happen often have special shelters to stay safe. Hurricanes and typhoons are very large storms that form over warm ocean water. These storms bring heavy rain and very strong winds that can cause flooding and damage buildings. People living near the coast often have to evacuate or leave their homes when a hurricane is coming. Snowstorms or blizzards happen in very cold places. They bring heavy snowfall and strong winds, making it hard to see and travel. Ice can also make roads very slippery and dangerous. Climate is different from weather. Weather changes from day to day, but climate is the general weather pattern in a place over a long period. Some places have a hot and dry climate, like deserts. Others have a cold climate, like the Arctic. Some places have a tropical climate, with warm temperatures and a lot of rain all year round. Climate change is a big concern today because temperatures are rising in many parts of the world. This can lead to stronger storms, melting ice in polar regions, and rising sea levels. Weather is an important part of life on Earth. It affects everything from what we wear to how we grow food. Scientists study the weather to help us understand it better and prepare for changes. By paying attention to weather forecasts, we can make smart choices and stay safe. In the next part, we will explore how different weather conditions affect people and the environment. Weather has a big impact on how people live their daily lives. It affects what they wear, what they eat, and even the kinds of houses they build. In very cold places, people wear thick coats, gloves, and hats to stay warm. In hot and sunny places, people wear light clothes and use sunscreen to protect their skin. Some cultures have special ways of dressing because of their climate. For example, in desert regions, people often wear long, loose clothing to protect themselves from the sun and keep cool. Weather also affects the types of food that people eat. In cold places, people often eat hot and heavy meals to keep their bodies warm. In tropical areas, where it is warm all year, people eat lighter meals with a lot of fruits and vegetables. Some foods grow better in certain types of weather. For example, rice grows in warm and wet climates, while wheat grows better in cooler places. Farmers must pay attention to the weather to make sure their crops grow well. If there is too much rain or not enough water, crops can be damaged, and people may not have enough food. The way houses are built also depends on the weather. In cold places, houses have thick walls and small windows to keep the heat inside. Some houses even have fireplaces or heating systems to stay warm. In hot places, houses are often built with large windows to let in fresh air. Some houses in warm climates have flat roofs, so people can sleep outside when it is too hot inside. In places where it rains a lot, houses are built on stilts to prevent flooding. People have adapted their homes to survive in different weather conditions. Transportation is another part of life that is affected by weather. Rain, snow, and storms can make travel difficult. Heavy snow can block roads and make it dangerous to drive. Ice makes roads slippery, causing accidents. In very hot weather, car engines can overheat, and train tracks can expand, causing delays. Airplanes also depend on good weather. If there is a storm, strong winds, or thick fog, flights can be delayed or canceled. People have to check weather reports before traveling to make sure they stay safe. People also plan their activities based on the weather. In warm and sunny weather, people enjoy outdoor activities like hiking, swimming, and playing sports. In cold weather, people might go skiing, ice skating, or stay indoors with a warm drink. Many festivals and events are planned around good weather. For example, people celebrate summer festivals when the weather is nice. Farmers hold harvest festivals in autumn when they collect their crops. However, bad weather can cancel events and change plans. A picnic can be ruined by sudden rain, and a snowstorm can stop people from going outside. Severe weather can sometimes cause disasters. Heavy rain can lead to floods, which damage homes and roads. Strong winds from hurricanes and tornadoes can destroy buildings and trees. Wildfires can start in very dry and hot weather, burning forests and houses. Droughts happen when there is not enough rain for a long time, causing water shortages. People must prepare for these kinds of weather emergencies. Many communities have warning systems to alert people before a storm or a flood happens. Governments help people stay safe by providing shelters, emergency supplies, and weather updates. Weather is a powerful force that affects everyone. It shapes how people live, what they eat, and how they move from place to place. It can bring joy with sunny days and fun activities, but it can also bring danger with storms and extreme conditions. In the next part, we will explore how technology helps us understand and prepare for different kinds of weather. Technology has helped people understand and predict the weather more accurately. In the past, people relied on their senses and natural signs to guess what the weather would be like. They watched the sky, observed animal behavior, and used traditional knowledge passed down through generations. For example, people believed that red skies in the evening meant good weather the next day, while red skies in the morning warned of a storm. While some of these methods were useful, they were not always reliable. Today, modern technology allows scientists to study the weather in a more advanced way. One of the most important tools for understanding the weather is the satellite. Weather satellites orbit the Earth and take pictures of clouds, storms, and temperature changes. These images help meteorologists, or weather scientists, predict storms, hurricanes, and other weather patterns. Satellites also provide information about global weather changes, such as rising temperatures and melting ice in the Arctic. This helps scientists understand climate change and how it affects the planet. Weather stations are also important for collecting data. These stations are placed in different locations, from cities to mountains to oceans. They measure temperature, humidity, wind speed, and air pressure. This information is sent to weather centers, where experts analyze the data and create weather forecasts. Some weather stations are even placed in remote areas, like the desert, or deep in the ocean, to gather more information about how weather works in different environments. Another powerful tool is the weather radar. This device uses radio waves to detect rain, snow, and storms. It helps scientists track how fast a storm is moving and how much rain or snow will fall. This is very helpful for warning people about heavy storms, tornadoes, or hurricanes. Thanks to radar technology, many lives have been saved because people have time to prepare before severe weather strikes. Supercomputers also play a big role in predicting the weather. These computers process large amounts of weather data quickly and create models of how the weather will change. They consider different factors like air pressure, wind direction, and ocean currents to predict future weather conditions. Although weather forecasts are not always 100% correct, they are much more accurate than they were in the past. Scientists are constantly improving weather models to make predictions even better. Weather apps and websites allow people to check the weather anytime. Before going outside, people can look at their phones or computers to see if they need an umbrella or a warm jacket. Farmers use weather forecasts to decide when to plant or harvest their crops. Travelers check the weather before planning a trip. Airlines use weather data to ensure safe flights. Weather forecasts are a part of everyday life, helping people make decisions and stay safe. Climate change is another important topic related to weather. Over the years, scientists have noticed that global temperatures are rising. This is causing changes in weather patterns. Some places are experiencing stronger storms, while others are facing longer droughts. The melting of ice in the Arctic is causing sea levels to rise, which can lead to flooding in coastal cities. Scientists study these changes to understand how human activities, like burning fossil fuels, affect the climate. Many people and governments are working to reduce pollution and protect the environment to slow down climate change. People also use technology to protect themselves from extreme weather. In areas where hurricanes are common, buildings are designed to withstand strong winds. In places with heavy snowfall, roads have heating systems to melt the ice and prevent accidents. Early warning systems give people time to evacuate before a disaster happens. Emergency shelters and rescue teams are ready to help people affected by severe weather. These advancements have saved many lives and continue to improve as technology advances. In conclusion, weather is a powerful and ever-changing force that affects everyone on Earth. It shapes our daily activities, the way we build our homes, and even the food we eat. Technology has made it easier to predict and understand the weather, helping people prepare for different conditions. However, with climate change affecting global weather patterns, it is important for people to take care of the planet and work together to reduce pollution. Weather will always be a part of life, and learning more about it helps us stay safe and make better decisions.
The English Pod Audio Review. Listen to the meaning, then say the vocabulary word. Something that is spread all over an area.
Scattered.
Small balls of ice that fall from the sky.
Hail.
Small drops of water that float in the air.
Fog.
A very strong snowstorm.
Blizzard.
Light rain.
Drizzle.
To enter or arrive from somewhere.
Come in from.
A statement of what will happen in the future.
Forecast.
Describes when air is not clear because of fog or smog.
Hazy.
Stay near a certain level or place.
Hover around.
A collection of different kinds of things.
Mixed bag.
The amount of sky that is covered with clouds. Saying that some type of weather will happen.
Call for.
Rainfall in a short time.
Shower.
Leading edge of a cooler and drier mass of air.
Cold front.
Very cold.
Chilly.
Limited to one area.
Isolated.
Strong, sudden rainstorm.
Downpour.
Strong, sudden increase in wind speed.
Gust.
A mix of rain and snow.
Sleet.
Having some clouds and some sun.
Partly cloudy skies.
Let's try that faster. Strong, sudden rainstorm.
Downpour.
Something that is spread all over an area.
Scattered.
Leading edge of a cooler and drier mass of air.
Cold front.
Stay near a certain level or place.
Hover around.
A mix of rain and snow.
Sleet.
Very cold.
Chilly.
The amount of sky that is covered with clouds. Light rain.
Drizzle.
A very strong snowstorm.
Blizzard.
Rainfall in a short time.
Shower.
A collection of different kinds of things.
Mixed bag.
A statement of what will happen in the future.
Forecast.
Strong sudden increase in wind speed.
Gust.
Small balls of ice that fall from the sky.
Hail.
To enter or arrive from somewhere.
Come in from.
Having some clouds and some sun.
Partly cloudy skies.
Small drops of water that float in the air.
Fog.
Describes when air is not clear because of fog or smog.
Hazy.
Limited to one area.
Isolated.
Saying that some type of weather will happen.
Call for.
Now say the word and hear it in a sentence.
Scattered.
The children scattered in all directions when the teacher approached.
Scattered.
Your room is a mess. There is trash scattered everywhere.
Scattered.
I accidentally knocked over the plant and scattered dirt all over the floor.
Downpour.
I forgot my umbrella at home today, and a downpour just hit.
Downpour.
The weather here is terrible. You have downpours almost every day.
Downpour.
A massive downpour hit us Monday night, with 150 millimeters of rain falling in less than 3 hours.
Come in from.
I have a friend that is coming in from Brazil this weekend.
Come in from.
England has many migrant workers coming in from all over the world.
Come in from.
Mike is coming in tonight from his trip to Finland.
Forecast.
The president's forecast of the economy is very optimistic.
Forecast.
Based on our forecast of inflation, we made a small price increase to our products.
Forecast.
The weatherman's forecast is always wrong.
Hover around.
The temperature will hover around 0 degrees all week.
Hover around.
I wish he would stop hovering around me and just go away.
Hover around.
The company's margin this year is hovering around the 40% mark.